Hello and welcome to Protect Your Email from Sensitive Data Loss and Data Exfiltration. Today's webinar is sponsored by Nightfall AI and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech and I'm excited to be your moderator for this demo-packed presentation. Now, before we get to today's great content, we have 4 housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. So not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we will provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to a great solution brief on Nightfall's email data protection. There are also some links in there labeled ATM, which stands for Actual Tech Media. So I encourage you to access all those resources now and share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Now, finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenter. So to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. After the event is over, we'll look at all the questions that came in, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. Okay, with all that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's timely discussion. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our presenter today. We have Anant, who is Director of Product for Nightfall AI. Anant brings over 10 years of product management experience from leading companies like Rubrik, Sky High Security, and Druva. He specializes in data security across SaaS apps, and he expertly defines, launches, and scales Nightfall's new products to market-leading positions. Well, Anant, it's great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Likewise, pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me, Scott.
So let's get right into it. Can you explain the important differences between traditional secure email gateways and an AI-powered DLP solution?
Absolutely. So, in case of traditional secure email gateways, they were really built for an age where you had your email servers sitting on premises on legacy hardware. But now organizations have increasingly moved to cloud productivity suites like Google Workspace and Exchange Online. And in the world of secure email gateways, they really sit in line and are filtering all email traffic. Security teams have to configure MX records, develop security policies, and then spend a lot of time blocking domains and manually triaging incidents. And of course, there's going to be a ton of false positives because the whole philosophy with secure email gateways is how they can cast a wider net to catch as many um, threats as possible. But unlike secure email gateways, an AI-powered cloud-native email DLP solution is built for modern organizations. Nightfall has that capability, and it secures organizations against exfiltration scenarios or threats where inadvertently or maliciously employees are sending out sensitive content to partners, to other organizations. And then it's very, very easy to deploy, easy to use. And there's a very high accuracy given the AI detectors that we have with our platform. So those are the key differences to start with, and I'm happy to go into more depth in a bit.
Okay, yeah, that was a great overview. So, how can security teams address the limitations of rules-based approaches in detecting and preventing data leaks?
Yeah, great question, Scott. So essentially, if you look at a AI powered email DLP solution like Nightfall, we have the best of both worlds, where you have the ability to scan outgoing emails pre-delivery, but can also scan any at-rest content within your mailboxes going back years. Um, and this is unlike the approaches that are prevalent in secure email gateways, where they're going to be limited by rule-based approaches, regular expression-based detection, or signature-based detection for certain files. In our case, we are an AI native ML-powered detection platform with 4x fewer false positives and 2x the precision of these traditional rules-based systems, right? And we have these detectors trained on terabytes of data, with the ability to detect PII, PCI, protected health information, as well as secrets and credentials. Apart from just the detection accuracy, there's also a ton of other powerful workflows that can enable and empower security teams to coach users while they're at it, and also automate a lot of workflows that they have across not just email, but also across all their SaaS applications.
Okay. Yeah, great. So, speaking of SaaS applications, what's the approach that you recommend to protect both the Gmail and Exchange email environments?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I touched upon a few minutes back, Gartner themselves estimates that 70% of organizations today are using cloud productivity suites like Google Workspace and M365. And as we've seen this rapid migration to use cloud email providers like Gmail and Exchange Online, it has made it increasingly complex and hard to keep up and secure these environments. At the end of it, email continues to be the primary source where we are having all our sensitive information. We are sending out intellectual property or other regulated information to our partners. Employees within the company do use email for all their key communications. So it is very, very important that modern organizations today who are using these cloud platforms, have three key things in an email security platform. I would say some things to look out for are an AI native detection and context aware approach to not just detect but also secure emails that either may be going out from your environment or are sitting at rest. The second key aspect is the fact that you don't have to rely on archaic or complex configuration to change your MX records. Work with teams to manage or change those DNS entries for such emails. So it should be a cloud native API only, or an inline solution that is simple to administer and control on an ongoing basis. And the third key aspect is really in terms of the flexibility and control associated with the workflows. So instead of a brute force approach to block or quarantine emails, you should look for solutions that have the ability to empower your end users and coach them if at all they are sending out sensitive information outside the org. So that's what you should look for, and that's the approach we recommend that you take to protect Gmail and Exchange Online environments.
Okay. All right, great. Now, I understand Nightfall has a couple of different modes, inline and reflection. I'm wondering if you can walk us through how those two modes work to ensure comprehensive email protection.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very happy to share. The beauty of Nightfall's approach is it has the flexibility and complete coverage, irrespective of what use case you may have, as far as email DLP is concerned. So with our inline mode, it's a low latency, high throughput platform where Any and all outgoing emails from your organization can be protected via Nightfall's inline mode. It requires a very simple setup where you can get up and running in a matter of minutes. You do need to set up compliance rules or connectors in the world of Exchange Online, where once you set up those compliance rules, Nightfall's SMTP service is going to be scanning those emails in a matter of seconds and releasing it back to the Gmail server or the Exchange Online server in this case, which continues to be the primary delivery service to external recipients. And with that inline mode, you have the ability to not just block, quarantine, or automatically encrypt emails, but a lot of other actions that we also support via the API. You also have the flexibility to keep it in a monitoring only mode and just coach your end users with our human firewall capabilities that we have across the platform. With respect to the reflection mode, this is where the flexibility comes in, where with just an API only approach, we have the ability to go back in time and scan mailboxes that may have data sitting there for up to the last 5-10 years. And it's a fully managed workflow where you have the ability to tell us, hey, these are the specific mailboxes, this is the types of content, and this is the date range that I would want to inspect all these mailboxes for sensitive content. And in a very short period of time, you get complete visibility with the ability to delete or redact emails that may be sitting at rest. So it's really a comprehensive platform, and that's how our inline and reflection modes work today, which is in line with what Gartner has called out in one of their email security white papers as well.
Okay. All right. Great. So, next thing I was hoping to get into, how does email DLP simplify the processes for email security management?
Right. Yeah, email security in general, as we all know, it's a very broad market. It's a market with a ton of vendors doing lots of having lots of different use cases. Specific to email DLP, I think the ability to identify specific types of content. We have customers in the healthcare domain who are worried about their employees sharing protected health information with partners. These could be insurance companies or large healthcare networks or hospitals who need to um, communicate with either patients or insurance companies, and they need to send protected patient information to these organizations. And they have a very strong need to automatically encrypt this outgoing content. We have modern SaaS organizations who are onboarding new employees, and before onboarding, they do need to send certain information to, for example, engineering folks to get them set up and up and running even before they join the company. And in that case, they do need to ensure that any corporate IP that is being sent is protected. We also have a lot of fintech companies, organizations, as well as traditional organizations in the insurance or financial services domain who do have a need to completely automate and coach the end users while they're sending out sensitive information. So it's a wide variety of use cases. And it's only with an email DLP solution that has a very high accuracy and high precision, with the ability to detect lots of different types of sensitive data, that can simplify this process. Because even if you are an organization with 500 employees, you could easily see thousands of emails that are getting sent out on a daily basis. And to get ahead and manage and secure these emails at that scale is going to be almost impossible without a solution that can automate and improve the overall detection workflows for you.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Um, well, let's get into some of the artificial intelligence aspects. How does AI technology make detection of sensitive data more precise within the email communications?
Yeah, so Scott, as we've all seen, a lot of tools do claim they do have AI ML capabilities from a detection standpoint. The proof is in the pudding. We encourage all the listeners here and all our customers and prospects to compare us neck and neck as far as our detection capabilities are concerned, and we outmatch the competition on this aspect fair and square. So with a platform like Nightfall, with our AI native capabilities, the detectors have been trained on lots of data. If you take any of our detectors across PCI, PHI, or even secrets and credentials, and apart from the training data sets, how those detectors have been set up, the accuracy is pretty high. And email communications, we do see end users are going to share all sorts of sensitive content. So the context in which they're having those communications, whether they're sending it to certain domains, whether those emails are coming from specific users or user groups, and also the context associated with what types of content is being sent out. So an AI native platform like Nightfall is taking that context into account apart from the content itself, and matching it against the detectors you may have enabled, and that significantly makes it easier and highly accurate to get ahead and prevent any exfiltration scenarios or data breach scenarios as far as email communications are concerned.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds really really smart. So, what are some of the remediation actions that teams can take, and how are they beneficial in real time email security scenarios?
Right. So we at Nightfall have a philosophy where we do not believe in brute force blocking or quarantining sensitive data being shared within or across SaaS applications or even external to your org. And we've taken that same philosophy and extended that to email. While we do support the ability to block or quarantine any emails, but we have a human firewall capability where you have the ability to provide the right contextual banners to end users with a complete sort of a snippet with acceptable use of sensitive data according to your organization's policy. You have the ability to completely customize this to your needs, and you can do that where your users are. You can notify them in Slack, you can notify them via email, or their while they are composing their emails within Gmail itself. It's all within the workflow, unlike some of the legacy vendors who need you to create a different account and go to a secure portal where they need to send out sensitive content. So the human firewall capability where you can coach your end users, redaction support or deletion support with the reflection mode that we have, are some of the other actions that are pretty compelling and are resonating with our customers as well as prospects. So yeah, it's there's quite a few powerful actions that you can take with Nightfall's email DLP solution.
Okay, all right. Well, so that leads me to, how does email DLP integrate with existing security stacks or workflows and systems such as SIM and SOAR platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a topic that I'm sure would be top of mind for some of our listeners today. An average organization that we speak with have anywhere between 10 to 15 different security tools in use. And with those many number of tools, the number of alerts that you need to triage and remediate is pretty hard. So from the get-go, from the ground up, Nightfall always has thought of that particular workflow and can support out of the box integrations with any SIEM or SOAR tool you may use, We do support webhooks with all our SaaS applications, and you could ingest any violations, any alerts from any SaaS applications that you're securing via Nightfall. We also have a REST API with our sensitive data protection platform, where you could use that REST API and integrate and automate your security workflows. If at all you're using a SIM SOAR tool like Splunk, Teams, we see a bunch of those, and a lot of customers are already successful utilizing these capabilities within Nightfall today.
Well, it's great to hear about those integrations. Another major concern for users would be low latency in email security. Can you explain how Nightfall can help, avoid latency while scanning emails?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a highly differentiated aspect, and this is where we really shine with some of the traditional legacy competition out there. So, like I said, we are a high throughput, low latency platform. And on high throughput, the way we enable that is it's a cloud native platform with a horizontally scalable architecture. We can scale out our compute resources as we see more data that we need to scan. So uh, already today we are seeing tens of terabytes of data that we scan on a daily basis. And this is across all the productivity suites or other modern SaaS applications, like not just Gmail or Exchange Online, but also Slack or Jira, Confluence, or other apps. From a ML detection standpoint, so each of our ML models is optimized with lightweight neural nets, and which have the ability for a very quick inference and give feedback on what we've identified in terms of sensitive content. And of course, there's the data pipelines and efficient processing that happens, and parallelization that that is enabled by our cloud native platform that is hosted on AWS. So that's how that is enabled. And this is unlike other vendors who would rely on agents, proxies, or have complex deployment scenarios, because you're just not going to be able to get that compute and that sort of a horsepower with that is required with ML detection. And that's how we enable that today.
Okay, all right. And what steps can an organization take to transition to, an AI native email DLP system, and how can Nightfall support them?
Yeah, great to take that question. So, like I said, Nightfall today has the ability to support both inline and reflection modes on Gmail. Exchange Online is the next app that we'll support very soon. Essentially, we talk to companies, modern organizations across different verticals like healthcare, financial services, SaaS companies, and they're already thinking about replacing some of the traditional vendors that just are focused on data encryption, as an example. And that whole space is riddled with vendors who need to rely on manual encryption workflows. They do not have any AI native capabilities from a detection standpoint. Some don't even have any DLP capabilities. They just enable encryption, and they do need their employees to go to these third party security portals, and the client side encryption just does not exist. So we are having a lot of conversations with those sort of companies who are looking to actively replace their data encryption vendors. At the same time, in parallel, we are also talking to organizations who already have some native capabilities in Gmail or Microsoft 365, but the native capabilities are not enough, and they're not living up to the needs that these modern companies have. So we play well with the native capabilities within Google Workspace or Exchange Online, M365, whether it's E3 or E5. So organizations can really look to an AI native platform that can have an contextual and automated experience to not just encrypt sensitive content with an email, but also has the ability to coach or empower their end users. So yeah, look out for such a solution. Feel free to compare and benchmark us to any other vendors that you're thinking about, and we can definitely get you up and started in a matter of minutes and make you successful securing exfiltration or exposure scenarios across any of your email environments.
Okay. All right. Well, Anant, this has been fascinating to me. But I keep asking you questions. I'm sure people want to see the tool, so I understand you can give us a demo here.
Absolutely. Very excited to share a quick demo and happy to take questions after that.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Scott, this is the centralized console that our customers land on once they log into Nightfall. So as you can see here, the dashboard gives you a brief overview of the overall security hygiene and how it's trending across all the SaaS applications that you're securing via Nightfall. You get insights into the total data scanned across each of the application. You have visibility of the total violations and how many are you resolving on a daily basis. You can go back up to 6 months in time and get these insights. There's also distribution by the top detectors, so what types of sensitive content exist across these SaaS applications, the top policies that you've configured and how many violations you're getting, and also last but not the least, the highest risk users. So you have the ability to go and coach them async across all SaaS applications, and you know which users are sharing the most amount of sensitive content. Um, After you've seen the dashboard, it influences you to take action, but the violations page, the violations monitoring workflow is where you come here on a day-to-day basis. So this is where our security analysts go in and triage incidents within Nightfall. And this is just our console. Like I said, all of these capabilities can be completely automated via the REST APIs. You have the ability to sort of query all violations and take actions via the REST API. As you can see here, I did have some sensitive content that I shared via my mailbox. And when I click on the Gmail violation, I get full context with a preview of the email subject. Even the attachments are scanned, and you'll get full visibility of all the metadata associated with that email. That gives you enough information to go ahead and triage any or take actions on that particular email. In this case, as you can see here, this was blocked based on an automated policy that I'd configured, but you can go ahead and sort of notify the user after the fact. So for example, let me go ahead and notify the user after the fact, and the user in this case is going to get a notification saying, you shared some sensitive content that was not aligned with the security policy that we have in place. So that's what the day-to-day experience for a SOC analyst looks like. From a policy management standpoint, you could come in here and create a policy for any of our SaaS applications. So our policies are consistent across all apps. You have the ability to define what you want to scan in a particular app, so it is intelligent to auto discover the entire hierarchy. In the case of Gmail, it's going to identify all mailboxes. You can specify which users, which file types you want to scan as far as attachments are concerned. You could also exclude certain users or user groups if you set them up within Google Workspace. um, Next, you have the ability to consistently sort of select the detectors and detection rules. So here, as you can see, you can pick any detection rule that needs to look for certain sensitive content in emails. Here you can configure alerting to any platform optionally on a per policy basis. And these are the couple of actions available today. Excited to share the automated encryption action is going to be available starting next week. So block and quarantine, we already touched upon that briefly. So quarantine is just a softer version of block. In both these cases, end users are getting notified immediately as soon as their email is blocked or quarantined, with a message that can be customized by you within the Nightfall policy. And as far as quarantined emails are concerned, you have the ability to go within Google Workspace and approve or deny any quarantined emails that you may have. This is the human firewall capability, where, as you can see here in my policy, you can customize this and add your own organization security policy in here, and that will automatically notify your users and coach them while they're at it. So you can notify them via Slack or email, and they get this message that tells them how to handle sensitive content in email, and they will continue to be reminded until the violation is resolved or they've acted on it. They also have the ability to pass on feedback to the security team or mark that as a false positive, and all of that is visible within the Nightfall console. So you provide the name and description, and you're ready to go. So that's how you create a policy, and that's how powerful it is. I'm just going to quickly share what the end user experience looks like as far as the um, end user notification is concerned. So if I go to Slack in here, so the Nightfall alert bot is going to Nightfall app is going to notify the user. So just a while back, as I was demoing it, I did notify the user, and as you can see here, this is the content I get on Slack. So it gives me your organization security policy that you can customize. It tells me what content did I share and where did I share it, just enough context. And they can sort of take actions on these alerts that are being sent via either Slack or email. In terms of the admin alerts itself, so you can create specific alert channels for every app, and all of these capabilities you also have in the console. So from an security team standpoint, in a dedicated alert channel for Gmail, I got this alert here that gives me full context of what types of content I found, the finding snippet. And as you can see here, block and quarantine are inline actions, so you don't have the ability to take them manually, but you can follow up after the fact, where you can also take the same actions that I took via the console uh, from the Slack alerts. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with the quick demo here, but excited to take any questions that you may have.
All right, Anant. Yeah, and we do have a lot of questions here. Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Excited
All
to
right,
take them.
super. This first one, Dean had a couple of questions, and some others did. How long does integration take to begin working with Nightfall's email solution?
Yeah, great question. So Nightfall has two modes, the inline mode and the reflection mode, and in both cases, you can literally set it up in a matter of minutes, and you're up and running with Nightfall. There are some prerequisites that need to be completed within Google Workspace for the inline mode. So that literally takes a few minutes. That's all you need to do, and then you sort of create and tune your policies, and off you go. So yeah, that's all that is required for the inline mode. And for the reflection mode, it's a completely API based solution. So it's just a service account and certain scopes that we need, just like what we have with Google Drive. And that solution essentially is a simple redirect, and it can be set up in a matter of seconds. So we can get you started very very quickly on Gmail.
Gotcha. And so that's to start. Then I imagine there's some tuning and optimization that customers typically do until they get things exactly how they want them. How long does that typically take?
Yeah, great question. So typically, we work with our customers for a period of about a couple of weeks. We are leaving the policies in a monitor only mode. We have the ability to sort of configure the detectors and detection rules at specific thresholds of likely, very likely, and possible. So we leave them off at a low confidence threshold just to see what kinds of findings are being reported from that particular app in a specific environment. And according to the feedback from customers, we are going to help them fine tune those thresholds. And once they're comfortable with the amount of hits or findings that we're discovering according to that tweak, that's when that policy is then rolled out, and it's enabled in production across all users. So I would say that fine tuning stage is lasts for a couple of weeks in most cases.
Super. All right, great. And then as far as training, is it mostly training the admins on using the software or the tool, or is there end user training involved as well?
Yeah, it's mostly the security teams, the security analysts who are interacting with Nightfall on a daily basis. There's very little end user training that is required, but with the new capabilities around data encryption, we also have a Chrome plugin to secure prompts that are being submitted to apps like ChatGPT. That's where the end user training aspect may come in handy. And we do have quick start guides and rollout guides to help our friends in security organizations that they can use to introduce or help their end users become successful with Nightfall. So it's fairly straightforward. There's not a big learning curve as far as administrating or managing Nightfall on a day-to-day basis is concerned. And for end users, it's just getting familiarized with the Chrome plugin workflows that they may have to interact with, both from a data encryption standpoint, which is embedded within the Gmail UI, or from submitting prompts to ChatGPT. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And you mentioned in there the reflection and inline. And Raphael actually had a question. He was looking for more clarification on the difference between reflection and inline, and I'm glad that he asked because I could use that again as well.
Yeah, that and those are terms that have been coined by Gartner. So the inline mode is essentially uh, a mode where Nightfall is inspecting your outbound emails in real time, and in by real time we mean literally a matter of seconds. We are going to be processing the outgoing email from your organization, and then either blocking or quarantining those emails or releasing them as is, but giving you full visibility irrespective of what action you've configured within the policy. That's the inline mode. And you have full flexibility to focus on specific users, user groups, or OUs for that inline mode. So all that control exists with the Nightfall policies and how you define them. As far as reflection mode is concerned, that's about going back months or even years in time, where I'm sure you have tons of mailboxes, and we never really delete our emails, right? And that could become a very big target for malicious actors to go ahead and uh, exfiltrate data out of, or attack those mailboxes and try and uh, take that data at rest from those mailboxes. So for the reflection mode, it's essentially a periodic historical scan. So you have the ability to tell Nightfall, tell us that, hey, these are the mailboxes that I do want to scan, and I want to get rid of all the regulated PHI data that exists because I have an audit coming up. And that's how we can completely run that historical scan on your behalf, give you complete visibility of which mailboxes and what data resides in those mailboxes, and then enforce any remediation actions that you may have specified. So that's how the reflection mode works.
Great. I really appreciate that explanation. I hope Raphael does too. I feel like I have a lot better understanding. And as far as the reflection mode goes, yeah, you're right. Nobody does delete emails anymore. It seems like, and so there's all that stuff sitting there. As far as the inline mode goes, is there a performance hit that customers should expect? Both from an end user perspective or from a resource perspective.
Not really. So, in average cases, we scan emails in up to 25 to 30 seconds in the inline mode, and if there are attachments in that email, which may be up to 25 MB, which is what is the default limit with Gmail, then
Mhm.
it can take up to a couple of minutes. But that's the extent of the latency or the delay that is caused by the inline mode. And we continuously invest in processing time to further reduce that SLA. So it's very, very fast, and it's not intrusive from a end user's experience standpoint.
Gotcha. Excellent. Okay, thanks. Next one here, saying, I like that you can customize policies. Is there a limit to how many custom policies you can create?
No, absolutely not. We in fact can help you uh, create. That there's no limit, and you can create as many custom policies as you need. You can cut them by different dimensions. If you want to focus on specific users or user groups, you can do them by different domains. So it's totally up to you, and it could also be based on the types of content and actions that you need to enforce. So it is fully flexible, and this applies to every single SaaS app that we support natively in the platform.
Okay. Okay. Hey, another question here, and you may have touched on this on the inline versus reflection answer, but they're wondering, what does real time mean for Nightfall? I know some companies use these words to mean many things.
Yeah, that's a great question. So today we have four different products within the Nightfall platform: sensitive data protection for SaaS apps, where we support 12 different SaaS applications from a DLP standpoint. We have data encryption, which is we it's a client side encryption capability that supports encrypting outgoing emails as of today. There is exfiltration prevention from SaaS apps and endpoints. We do have endpoint capabilities on Mac. And lastly, there's also firewall for AI. So this is securing workflows on Gen AI applications like ChatGPT, as well as any custom apps or LLMs that you need to secure. So the real time aspect applies to each and every one of these products, and at the highest level, given we are integrating at the API level for these different SaaS applications, the moment you're setting up this SaaS app, essentially we get webhooks, we get notifications or periodic updates, instantaneous updates if there are changes made to a file, or if, let's say, you're posting a message to Slack, or in the case of email, you're sending an outgoing email. We have the ability to intercept that instantaneously, process it in literally a few seconds. In case of other apps where it's a purely API based capability, we're scanning that data in milliseconds, and giving you that visibility either in our console or via any of the alert platforms that we support. So that's what real time really means for us. And once you give it a try, literally you type out a message in Slack or you're sending an email, in the next second you're getting visibility of that across the different platforms that we support.
Gotcha. All right, excellent. Yeah, thanks for enumerating all those different tools there. Um, Next one, what remediation actions does Nightfall AI support with email DLP?
Yeah, we touched upon this briefly in the discussion a while back. So one of the more popular options that our customers are currently using, they consider Nightfall as this AI coach that they have, that they can utilize in their org. And it works and enables them to coach their employees while they're at it, right? It could be Gmail, it could be Slack, it could be Microsoft Teams or Google Drive. And it really reduces the burden on security teams because they have the ability to, without really enforcing any actions, if they're simply enabling the end user notifications there, then the moment I as an employee am sending secrets and credentials in Slack, or I'm sharing a Google Drive file that has corporate IP, and I'm sharing it externally, or I'm leaving the link settings open to the public, the moment I'm doing that, Nightfall's bot is going to be notifying me via a channel that the security teams want to use. It could be Slack itself, or it could be email, right? We are embedded natively into most of the applications that we support, and that's really the power. So that's one of the more popular app options because it reduces the burden on security teams. It encourages a philosophy where instead of brute force or security getting in the way of end user productivity, they're really partnering with end users and just nudging them to do the right thing. And at the same time, they're also reducing the overload on themselves. So, and end users can give feedback, and all of that is visible to security teams within the console. So that's one. The other actions from an email standpoint, we just looked at those where you could block or quarantine those. And another action which is highly in demand from our healthcare customers, even from some of the financial services customers that we have, is the automated encryption part. So this is the best of both worlds, where today some of the solutions that our customers are leaning on is a over reliance on end users to do the right thing. There has to be a good balance where, and so in this case today, some of our customers, what they need to do is need to rely on end users to drop in a specific word in their subject lines, and only if that word exists, then their gateway solution is going to encrypt that particular outgoing content. Or they have to manually rely on an end user opting in and doing the right thing and encrypting that outgoing email. So our customers in the healthcare or financial services domains are telling us that they really want to automate that, and it needs to be the best of both worlds. If the end user forgets to do the right thing, then the system automatically needs to kick it in place, where if that email had protected health information, or it had secrets and credentials, or it had intellectual property, and based on that policy that I've defined, it should automatically encrypt that outgoing email. And Nightfall allows them to do just that, where you can have automated encryption enabled in a policy, but at the same time, you could also pass it on to the end user, where while I'm composing an email in Gmail, I have the ability to enable encryption if I'm sending out certain content to a partner organization. And if I don't do that, Nightfall is going to automatically encrypt it on my behalf. So that's really the power and control that is going back into the hands of security teams. So those are some of the actions that are popular and that we support today.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, and I love that end user focus that you talked about there. You know, you kind of build in the end user's feedback and almost sort of partner with end users to focus on their experience. It's so smart because I've seen so many IT solutions fail because they don't take the end user experience in their productivity into account. So that's really good to hear. Um, there's a question from Paul, and I really like this question. I'm interested in the answer to it as well. Paul's wondering, is Nightfall AI better suited for addressing internal or external data loss and exfiltration, or both unique risk vectors equally addressed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's some interesting nuggets, interesting use cases that customers come to us with. So one organization was worried about employees maliciously, marking their personal Gmail addresses in BCC and sending out corporate IP, thinking that won't be monitored. There are scenarios where uh, some other organizations in these verticals, regulated verticals, are worried about uh, employees inadvertently or maliciously sharing information with external partner orgs that may have regulated data. So to answer that briefly, yes, we are suited and we do address both internal or external data loss and exfiltration scenarios. not just across email, but also across other SaaS applications that we have. So we do have exfiltration prevention and posture management for Google Drive, as an example, where we have the ability to monitor for download or permission change events in real time and give you visibility, and also enforce actions like the ability to prevent downloads or to completely block or change the sharing settings, or even deactivate an account if that is really required. And that same capability exists on endpoints. So the endpoint scenario may be a vector from an internal standpoint, where an employee is trying to upload content to unauthorized cloud applications, or they're trying to copy data to external storage media like USB. And we do have capabilities to address those scenarios as well. So yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Um, Next one here. What automation capabilities does Nightfall have to triage and resolve incidents?
Yeah, so apart from we looked at some of the workflows briefly available in the Nightfall console itself. So apart from having those same workflows across uh, not just the Nightfall console, but also alert platforms like Slack, email, and Jira, we also expose APIs, and a lot of our big customers, especially there are technology firms, SaaS companies. There's also modern banks. There's a large digital bank in Brazil, and some of these organizations do rely and go API first, so they can use our API to automate their security workflows via third-party tools they may have. So we play well with the ecosystem of tools that you may have within our organization. So yeah, it's up to you in how you either want to remediate or redact or quarantine some content, change permission settings. It's completely relative to the specific SaaS app you may be protecting. And in case of email, we've also touched upon the different actions. So that's how triage and remediation works today.
Okay, excellent. And we've got a question from Dean, who's wondering, how does Nightfall AI address the complexity of configuring the alert system for a new integration?
Got it. So yeah, if I understand that right, so essentially, the way that works is Nightfall supports four different alert platforms today. One is Slack, email, Jira, and webhooks, as we saw in the screen, or in the demo a while back. And with each of those alert platforms, essentially it's a one-time setup, right? It's a simple OAuth-based flow, and you're granting permissions to one of those apps, and you can automatically sort of create a channel once you've specified that in a specific policy. And once you've set up the source app, and by the source app I mean any SaaS application that you need to monitor for DLP, it can work and it can send alerts to any of these alert platforms that I mentioned. It could be a Slack channel, it could be a specific project in Jira where it automatically creates a Jira ticket. And there's no real learning curve required there. It's a one-time setup activity, and you get continuous visibility of those alerts across those channels. And apart from these channels, I also talked about REST APIs. There's some sample SDKs and implementations that are available on our playground, so we can also help you get started and up and running with connectors with Splunk, Teams, or whichever other tool you may have.
Okay, excellent. Um, and one from Paul is wondering, does Nightfall AI have any limits on observability into infrastructure? So in other words, can Nightfall's platform serve as an end-to-end DLP solution?
Absolutely, and this is something that we are seeing a lot of interest and demand in, and that's what we call as firewall for AI. So the same detection platform that is used to detect sensitive content across SaaS applications today, the beauty of the platform is that same detection technology is available to consume as an API. And that's where the developer platform comes in, where you can build on top of the dev platform we have, scan data from any cloud infrastructure service. You need to sort of build and implement a workflow where you can download data from that cloud infrastructure service, pass it on to the Nightfall platform via the APIs that we have, and then you're going to get results in real time, streamed to a destination of your choice. So that's not just meant to address scanning and detection of sensitive content in cloud infrastructure services like S3. It could be logging services like Datadog, but also any workflows or chatbots that you may be building in-house using third-party or off-the-shelf LLMs that may be there. Right? There's a large food delivery company in the Bay Area that's using us to scan sensitive content in their internal or customer exposed chatbot tool, and they want to ensure that there's no credit cards or any personal information that is getting into their chatbot and is leaking out into the internal LLMs that they may be using. And they use Nightfall to not just detect and prevent that data from getting into the chatbot, but also the outputs that any chatbots may be having. Those outputs should not be exposing any sensitive regulated content. So those are some of the workflows that our Firewall for AI platform already enables, and this is something that you can already try out for free on our developer platform page, and we encourage you to give it a spin.
Okay, excellent. Well, sadly, we are almost up on time here, Anant. I really appreciate you being in the hot seat for so long. This has been a great Q&A. We've had so many good questions from the audience, and appreciate all your thorough and enlightening answers here. This has been fantastic. But I did want to ask before we wrap up, if somebody wants to get started with Nightfall AI or find out more, what do you recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we recommend go check us out on the website, get in touch with our team, and we can't wait to get you started and give you a deeper dive and a demo. And happy to answer any questions in the follow up calls that you may set up. So absolute pleasure talking to you, Scott, and to all the members who were able to join today.
Likewise, Anant, thank you so much for joining us. This has really been a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. All right. And with that, before we wrap up, we have one more piece of business, and that is the Amazon gift card prize drawing. And the winner of the $250 Amazon gift card today is Alan Henton from Tennessee. So congratulations to Alan. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I do want to thank Nightfall AI and Anant for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending, and again for all of your great questions. That concludes today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.